Before we get into today's video, I would like to go ahead and ask you, if you're new, to please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit the ultimate goal of when this channel was created, and something I thought we'd never even get close to hitting, and that's 10,000 subscribers. We're climbing up right now. We have 8,600 at the time of this recording, so please go ahead and contribute to the cause if you are new to the channel. We make Saints videos here almost every single day. Then let's get into this video. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have the New Orleans Saints versus Atlanta Falcons matchups to watch, which is already here for the second time. We just played the Atlanta Falcons the game before we played the Broncos, and now we go to Atlanta to play them again. And the Atlanta Falcons have been good at one thing in the past couple of years, and that's avoiding a sweep. And by avoiding a sweep, I mean they usually don't lose both games. Of course, it happens every now and then, but usually, no matter how poopy-doo-doo they are, they somehow find a way to win a game, and let's go ahead and try to avoid that this year. With that being said, of course, we have to go and preview this game, and what better way to start it off rather than going over individual matchups that we can watch to see what players matter the most in this game. Of course, this is completely subjective, but these are the three matchups to watch that I have selected to go ahead and represent the New Orleans Saints versus the Atlanta Falcons. So the first one I have here is, of course, Marshon Lattimore versus Julio Jones, which is always a fun one to watch. Marshon Lattimore has been on a huge uphill trend since his two bad games versus the Green Bay Packers and the Chargers. I know. He turned around that Chargers game with a really clutch stop on fourth down, but in coverage, it wasn't the greatest. Since the Packers and Chargers games, where Lattimore allowed 86 yards and 99 yards respectively, he has been absolutely fantastic. There was a game against Chicago where he allowed 85 yards. Besides those three games I just listed, Marshon Lattimore has been on an absolute tear. He allowed 0 yards to Tampa, 59 yards to the Raiders, 20 yards to the Panthers, 30 yards to Tampa, 28 yards to San Fran, and 0 yards versus Tampa. So shit, for that last one, I definitely meant Denver, not Tampa. There's been two games this year where Marshon Lattimore has played the entirety of the game and allowed 0 yards across the board. This week, he will match up against probably a future Hall of Famer in Julio Jones. Julio Jones didn't get to see Marshon Lattimore in the Saints versus Falcons first matchup this season because of an oblique injury that caused Marshon Lattimore to miss this game, but now he is fully healthy. Julio Jones has 45 receptions for 677 yards and 3 touchdowns on the year. He missed last week's 43-6 win over the Las Vegas Raiders that the Atlanta Falcons sustained because of a hamstring injury, but look for him to play this week. It seems that every single time the Saints and Falcons play, Julio Jones is questionable because some kind of injury, usually a hamstring, but he just ends up magically getting cleared the second before game time and will usually always play. So just pretend that he's going to, even though we haven't gotten official word. That hamstring injury has been bothering him for the past 15 years now. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what the Falcons do about this. Do they bench him when their season is almost dead, or do they try to capitalize off that 43-6 win they just had over the Raiders and put Julio in and try to fight for some miracle of a playoff spot position? We'll just have to find out. Either way, this is a fantastic matchup that is must-watch television as always because they always battle. Hopefully Julio is good to go so we can watch them work. The next matchup, Taysom Hill versus Atlanta's secondary. Taysom Hill had his first start ever against the Atlanta Falcons just last week, where he threw 18 for 23 passing, 233 passing yards, and had 51 rushing yards for 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. It was an overall really good game for Taysom Hill. That was the best of his 2 starts this year, though, because he was 9 for 16 with 78 yards and 1 interception passing with a 43.2 passer rating last week against the Denver Broncos. He did have 10 rushes for 44 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, however, making it a pretty good game for Taysom Hill. The thing that should make New Orleans Saints fans okay with the performance that Taysom Hill put up last week is that almost every single thing wrong with Taysom Hill's play last week was 100% caused by the game plan that was installed whenever the New Orleans Saints found out that there would be no quarterback playing for the Denver Broncos. The game plan was run the ball, win the game. That's all they had to do. You don't have to test the secondary of a team that doesn't have a quarterback. They wanted to tire out the defense of the Denver Broncos and punch them in the mouth, which they accomplished. Like I said, though, he did drop back to pass, and his intangibles when he did were not the greatest looking. They weren't the most comfortable things I've ever seen. The decision-making and timing issues were obviously there, like I previously stated in my other video. Those were definitely off, but because he was only permitted to throw 16 passes on the day, he was never really able to get into a rhythm. Taysom was obviously not happy after the game. He wanted to show more of what his capabilities are at when it comes to the quarterback position. So with him not being able to display that, he wasn't the happiest. He followed the game plan and he got the win. It's definitely going to be interesting seeing Taysom Hill play against this Atlanta Falcons team yet again. Next week is going to be huge for Taysom Hill. The Falcons secondary, which is ranked 31st in the league in passing yards allowed per game, actually had a fantastic week last week. They held Derek Carr to a 64.7 completion percentage, 215 passing yards, and 1 interception. They also, as a defense, forced like 4 fumbles, which is ridiculous, especially for a team like Atlanta, who has been absolute dookie water on the offensive side of the ball this year, 99.9% of the time. It'll be interesting to see if this was nothing but a one-off, or is it actually a step in the right direction for this Atlanta Falcons defense? I guess there's only one reason to find out, and putting them against one of the best offenses in the league, even without Drew Brees, is going to be a really good test for them. If the Saints want to win this game, they absolutely cannot run the ball 40 times and pass the ball 16 times and expect to get a victory. Matt Ryan is more than capable and will be dangerous if given the opportunity. Taysom has to be poised, accurate, and smart with his decision making if we want to go ahead and complete the sweep on the Atlanta Falcons. Let's go ahead and get into the next matchup. So the next and final matchup I have here for the New Orleans Saints is the Saints defensive line versus the Atlanta Falcons offensive line. It's no secret that Cameron Jordan and company absolutely love playing the Atlanta Falcons. For some reason, they always play 3 times better every single time that they play the Atlanta Falcons. It's ridiculous. In the last 2 games against the Atlanta Falcons, the Saints have had 17 sacks. 17! That is absolutely insane over any 2-game span. Just last week, the New Orleans Saints had 8 sacks against the Falcons, Cameron Jordan having 3 of those, and Trey Hendrickson having 2. Cameron Jordan alone has 8 sacks against the Atlanta Falcons in their last 2 matchups, which is absolutely insane as he looks to demolish Matt Ryan for the millionth time in his career. Atlanta has allowed one of the worst league metrics as far as this goes, and that is 2.5 sacks per game this season, and has allowed a really bad 32 sacks on the year already. They need to be better if they want to go ahead and beat the Saints in Atlanta, even though it's at home. But don't worry, Falcons fans. You guys will try to game plan your with the offensive line to go ahead and stop this Saints defensive line as you do every week. But hopefully this time, for your sake, it goes your way. I'd like to see another sack fest by the New Orleans Saints, but it will more likely be around the ballpark of 3 or 4 sacks, because if we go ahead and get more than 5 or 6 sacks against the Falcons in a 3rd straight matchup, you guys just have to delete the franchise at that point. That's pathetic. We will see. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode on the channel. If you enjoyed, please go ahead and comment down in the comment section below what you want to see next. Of course, we'll always have the weekly schedule, but there's always things that we're open to doing. And by we, I mean me. I don't know why I keep saying we. But yeah, go ahead and leave any ideas or anything you have in the comment section. Let me know what you think your best matchups to watch for this game would be if you made a video on it. And yeah, I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.
Zero gravity falling. Like I'm jumping on a trampoline.